This is a short video on solving two-step equations, and really this is a multi-step equation that are a little more challenging than the basic add, subtract, then multiply, divide. So the first one isn't too much different in regards to that we have a negative 12, we have a coefficient of x of negative 4, and we have a 3. The most challenging part we have is that the coefficient of x is not 4, it's negative 4. So sometimes we have a lot of students that will forget that that coefficient is actually a negative 4 and not a positive 4. So the first thing you're going to do is, remember, always zero out the extra terms. As long as x, there's only one variable within the equation, so we're going to zero out the other number. So this would turn zeroed out. Negative 12, we would add 12 to both sides. And then again, this is going to be a negative 4 that we bring down. So this would be negative 4x equals, and then 3 plus 12, which is just 15. And then once we get to that part, we can go ahead and we want to turn the coefficient of x to 1. So negative 4, we would just divide by negative 4 on both sides. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. And so x would equal, we can actually just leave it, negative 15/4. That doesn't simplify to an integer, so we can just leave it that as our fraction answer. Now, if you were to check this, you can check it by hand or in your calculator. To check it by hand, we are going to first substitute our value that we got for x into the equation. So we're going to say negative 12 minus 4, and then in parentheses we'll put our value that we got for x, negative 15/4, and then equals 3, question mark, because we're not really sure, we're just checking. So we would do negative 12 minus, and then this would, we could go and multiply these together, so that would just turn to a 1, cross simplify here, 1, 1, so it would be a minus negative 15 equals 3, and this would of course turn to plus plus, so 3 equals 3, which checks our answer. Now for the next one, this is actually not a two-step, it's more of a multi-step, but it really only adds one additional part. So there's two ways you can do this. You can actually turn this number on the outside the parentheses to 1. Usually we go ahead and just distribute. However, if you multiply by 3/2 on both sides first, that actually will get you the same answer. So this would be 18 divided by 3, which is 6, and then minus 2/3 y equals 14. And then again, we're trying to zero that 6 out first, so we can go ahead and subtract 6 from both sides. 6 minus 6 is 0. The only thing we have left to the equal sign is negative 2/3 y equals, that would give us 8. And then we can go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal to get rid of the 2/3. So we're trying to turn, again, the coefficient to 1. So this would actually turn into, I'm just going to write this additional step down, negative 3 times negative 2, which is 6 over 6. 3 times 2. Y equals, we can cross simplify this, and then we just get negative 12. And then 6 over 6 just simplifies to a 1y, or just y. So there we go for that one. So again, we're just, first we distributed, and then we went ahead and multiply by the reciprocal after we zeroed out that 6. And the last one, I'm going to show you two different ways. I'd be interested to see if anybody actually can come up with another way to solve this than these two. The first way, this is actually, these two terms up in the numerator are actually being divided by 8. So we're actually looking at one full term here. So we have to get rid of the denominator in one way or the other. There's two options for this. Either option is correct. So we can kind of think back to Unit 1 and how we simplified here. We divided each term by the denominator. So we could say 2z over 8 and then minus 8 over 8, which is 1. And of course that does simplify to 1/4 z minus 1. And then we could go ahead and solve it from there. So we would add 1 to both sides, get 0, and then multiply by the reciprocal, which is 4 over 1, although it doesn't matter because we're multiplying, we have 0. Or, instead of dividing each term, we could actually, let me zoom out, we could actually multiply by the denominator first. So, if we multiply both sides by 8 here and 8 here, we end up getting 8 over 8, which is 1. So, negative 8 would equal 2z minus 8. And then we would do the same steps. Add 8 to both sides, and then divide by 2. Either method is appropriate. The only thing caution on this one is when you do that part where you multiply by 8 on both sides. Remember that this is actually just cross-simplifying to 1 here. So you could think of it that way. Okay, hopefully this was helpful, and that you feel more comfortable with those more challenging 2 steps.